Today I'm going to be revisiting the wormery. I need to give it a clean out and harvest some castings and some worm tea. So join me in the polytunnel. Hi YouTube family. Now I must admit it's not one of my favourite jobs, but it's one of them jobs that's got to be done. So first off, what I did was I brought the bin in from outside because it was outside all the summer. So now's a good time to sort it out really. So what I did was I used the tap there and let all the tea stuff out. So what I've got to do now is scoop it into the containers. It's not a very nice smell, to be honest, but there you go. So I've cut an old bottle off like this just to make myself a little funnel, and these two containers are what I've had old purified water in. So I'm going to fill them both up with the they call it worm tea, and then anything I've got left I'll put on the garden. Look at the colour of it, full of nitrogen though, and of course the dogs are right there because it smells, and you know what they're like. But this would be marvellous for the plants with all the nitrogen. As you know, you put your vegetable scraps and kitchen scraps in there, and you've got a couple of worms that have gone to worm heaven by the look of it. They probably crept into the bottom bit. And then what I should do is keep this for the summer, well spring, you know, and use it on all the lovely vegetables. Usually use it, you dilute it, well I put about half and half, but I mean by the summer I'll have more of it anyway. I must admit it doesn't smell very good. Oh. So what I'll do is I'll be back with you when I finish that. So I've got some in these couple of containers now. I suppose I could have tipped that bit in there, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I've got two of those. What are you doing, drummer? What are you doing? So what I'm going to do, this bucket that I used to collect the worm tea, I'm going to put some of this, this is just seed starting compost, in the bottom of there. Get off, get off. And then when I get the worms out of the wormery, I should put them in here. Get off. Let's get a bit more. I think that'll be enough. So just put that there and put the worms in. I've done the tap back up so that no liquid comes out. Mind out the way, come on. Mind. So now what I'm going to do, because in there's still some food that hasn't been eaten and stuff, I'm going to take that out and put it into a separate container for now. Like I say, I've harvested some of this already. It was quite about half full, so this is just another go at it, really. I've got me sieve and I've got a little plastic bag on because I haven't got any gloves. Well, I have, but I don't know where they are. So basically all I'm doing is getting any worms that I can see straight away. Often there's plenty in there. When I started this wormery off, I think there was 500 grams of worms. So there should be plenty now. I can see plenty of nice worms. So what I'll do is I'll carry on getting the worms, and then I'll use the sieve right at the end. And you see, all this is great for your plants. And so I'll do that and I'll be back with you. This pile here, this one is the actual worm castings that I can use in the garden. This is what I'm doing from the bin. I'm taking handfuls at a time, putting it into this green bin, and I can't find my gloves, but this bag will do. And I'm just taking out the worms, and underneath I've got a black bin, so I'm putting them in there. Because then I can put some new paper in that in the wormery and start again all over. Well, there's lots of little tiny worms. Mind you, I've had these for since last year, so they ought to have multiplied by now. It's a bit of a long-winded way of doing it, but it's quite damp, so it's probably the better way to do it for me, really. And at least I can be in here in the polytunnel in the dry on a Sunday picking out worms. And so when I see that most of it's free of worms, I'll just take these odd vegetable scraps out. I've got a little bucket over here and putting them in, so I'll put that in the compost, that bit. Now I can see that I don't think there's any more worms in there. A couple more bits of vegetable. Oh, there's a worm there. Get out, potato. Yeah, so there's the worms that I'm keeping, that I've been sorting out from the worm tea and the worm castings, and I'm tipping any castings into here. Obviously if there's if I spot a worm, which I can see there's one on the edge of there, I can put it in the bucket. And there he goes. Go on, little fella. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So when I've got to the end of it, I'll get back to you. I've got this bit in the bottom there to get out, and then I'll probably use the hose pipe to clean it out, and I'll be back with you. That's it, nice and clean. So this is the bit that goes in the bottom, and obviously it's got the little legs on it, but there's also a little handle there, look, that you can pull it out with, so that's handy. So put that back in and then take it back in the polytunnel when we set their house up again. That actually wasn't as bad as I thought, you know, it's quite therapeutic in a funny sort of way. I've ended up with quite a nice lot of castings. So I think for that size wormery, I reckon you need about 3 lots of that 500 to get, you know, to get the worms eating it quicker. So, but I'm going to be patient and just let them breed, and then I'll end up with loads one day. But that's fantastic, that is, for the garden, and I'll probably keep that because I'm going to use that shortly. Over the next few weeks I'm going to do you know, on that area at the back there where I was going to do the no dig, well that's turned out too boggy and wet up there, so what I'm going to do is some of the raised beds and just use that as a fruit area, so I use those castings for there.